Greetings, salutations, respect and love. Welcome to the Prog Corner, guys. Today on the channel, we're going to be talking about the top 25 keyboard players of all time. And I did the ranking of the 25 best prog guitar players about a month ago, and I did the top 25 drummers a couple weeks ago. Today it's the keyboard players' turn, and we're going to be looking at the very, very best, the cream of the crop, the tippity top of the pippity pops, starting with number 25, and the man who invented prog. Well, that's debatable, but there are some people who believe that Billy Ritchie and 1-2-3 Clouds was the very first prog band. They had a residency at the Marquee Club, and artists as varied as David Bowie, Keith Emerson, and Rick Wakeman went and saw 1-2-3 play. Unfortunately, they didn't have any of their early stuff recorded by the time they changed their name to Clouds, and did actually record some records. They had been surpassed by every other prog band in the world, but Billy Ritchie is the man who invented prog, according to some people. At number 24, Patrick Moraz, the man who had the unenviable task of filling the mighty shoes of Rick Wakeman back in 1974. And he not only did it with style and class, but he brought his own flavor. Unfortunately, he only got to do one album with Yes, but Relayer stands as a testament to his greatness, his solo career, his work with Refugee. I mean, the guy is just amazing. At number 23, we're going with the Soft Machines, Mike Ratledge, one of the pioneers of prog rock. Soft Machine doesn't really get a lot of credit here in the States for their status and for what they brought to progressive music. Mike was the last original member standing. He finally left the band in 78, but he is just godlike on the keyboards. You check out any of those early Soft Machine records, just amazing. At number 22, yeah, I've been talking a lot about this guy here lately. It's Andy Tillison of The Tangent. You know, this guy gets a lot of credit for his songwriting. This guy gets a lot of credit for, his interesting politics and his really unique slant on things. What he doesn't get a whole lot of credit for is his keyboard playing. The guy's phenomenal. He's a really, really good player. I like his style a lot. At number 21, David Greenslade. Yeah, most people know him from Greenslade, but his solo career was great. He did great stuff before he formed Greenslade. Such a terrific band. I really enjoy all the Greenslade stuff a lot. It's real keyboard driven, so he is the main focus of the band. He doesn't disappoint. At number 20, Camels, Peter Bardens. This is a band that obviously Andy Latimer was always the main focal point, but those early Camel records, Bardens' keyboards, stylings, the atmospheric stuff that he was doing, the way he could create moods, just incredible. He absolutely deserves to be on this list, as does number 19. How about Dave Stewart? And we're not talking about the Eurythmics, obviously. We're talking about the Canterbury guy. I mean, how could a guy who was part of Egg, Con, National Health, and Hatfield in the North, as well as Bruford, how could this guy not make the list? He's jazzy, he's technical, he can play a lot of different stuff. Yeah, Dave Stewart, amazing, amazing player. At number 18, how about Hugh Banton from Vandergraaf Generator? This guy's been in the band forever. You look at Vandergraaf Generator, the great prog band that does not rely on the guitars or really, synthesizers and stuff. They're real organic, and therefore his contribution to Vandergraaf Generator, absolutely critical. They wouldn't be the same band without him, absolutely. At number 17, another guy that you could make a case that helped invent prog rock. If you think about the very first prog song, the 1967 single Whiter Shade of Pale, what's the first thing you think of? You think of that keyboard line, that Bach thing he's playing. And we're talking about Gary Brooker. R.I.P. Gary. I mean, most people think about him for his smooth, beautiful, soulful voice, but he was quite a keyboard player and a huge influence on everything that happened in the late 60s and early 70s. At number 16, we're going with a more modern guy, although he's got his history goes all the way back to the 70s with a band called Japan. He's now the keyboard player for Porcupine Tree. We're talking about Richard Barbieri. This guy is just amazing. He can do everything. He can play every style. His ear for melody is second to none. He's really underrated, but people in prog circles know who he is. I've been knowing this guy forever. I love Japan. I love Porcupine Tree, so this guy obviously had to make the list. At number 15, let's talk about Marillion's Mark Kelly. He's been with the band from the beginning, and a big part of what Marillion does is his ability to lay things down, to create that atmosphere, to create that bed that everything else can sit on. And then he does all that cool stuff over the top. He's very subtle. You know, you never listen to, something Mark's playing, go, oh, wow, this is the greatest keyboard player I've ever heard. But then you listen to the songs and the records, like every single thing he does is exactly what needs to be done. Yeah, he deserves to be on this list. How about number 14? Let's go to the Netherlands and Tom Scherpenzeel from Kayak, founding member of Kayak, along with Max Werner and Pim Koopman. I love Kayak. I love early Kayak so much. I love this guy's style of playing. It's very classical. He's also gone on and played with Camel. He played on a couple albums with them, but just a phenomenal talent. I love him so much. At number 13, let's talk about Dream Theater's Jordan Rudess. This is the keyboard player's keyboardist. I mean, this guy was classically trained, went to Juilliard, and it obviously shows. He can play jazz, he can play classical, he can rock out. This guy's just ridiculous. And look at him. He's one of the most unique looking fellers in the world. And his talent is really, really unmatched. Unbelievable. At number 12, Ken Hensley. Yeah, he played guitar and he sang some too, but you think about Uriah Heep, you think about that heavy keyboard sound that he always laid down. Just phenomenal. Was he technically as great as some of the other people on this list? I'm not sure. Everything I've heard him do sounds good to me, but, I don't know just how, technically proficient he actually was, but who cares? That sound, that Uriah Heep sound, unbelievable. And his 1973 solo album is just incredible too. Check that out if you haven't heard it. At number 11, the great Neal Morse makes the list. Oh, yeah, he does. Of course he does. Spock's Beard, Transatlantic, Neal Morse Band. This guy's just phenomenal. He's great with the Hammond. He's great on piano. He's great with the synths. He can handle it all. I just love the way Neal plays. He takes his cues from all the greats from yesteryear, but puts his own style, his own spin on things. Neal Morse at number 11. Feels a little low, but you'll understand once you hear this top 10, people. It's unbelievable. At number 10, Kit Watkins. Happy the Man, Camel. The guy had a sound and a style all his own. Nobody plays keyboards like Kit Watkins. You check out those first two Happy the Man albums. Oh my goodness gracious. I'd never heard anybody play like that before with that, that pitch thing that he does. Oh man, you know it's him immediately as soon as you hear him playing. Kit Watkins, just incredible. At number 9, I'm going with Eddie Jobson, from Roxy Music, from UK, but he was also a member of Yes for about 10 minutes. If you look at the Owner of a Lonely Heart video, he is in there because Tony K hadn't been hired yet. But Eddie Jobson is just a consummate musician, whether he's playing keyboards or that electric violin. He's just a monster, and I love his style. I love how experimental he is. I love how melodic he is, and I love how he was able to take new technology and make it his own. That first UK album was the very first use of a Yamaha synthesizer nobody else had ever used before, so he was not afraid of taking chances. I really enjoy him, and his solo stuff is pretty great too. At number 8, R.I.P. Vangelis. The great Greek keyboard player got to start with Aphrodite's Child. Their masterpiece 666 still holds up as one of the greatest prog rock albums ever, but it was his solo career that everyone knows and everyone idolizes, and everybody looks to him as one of the great pioneers of electronic music and keyboard music, Blade Runner and Chariots of Fire. But I love the stuff he did with John Anderson too. He will be greatly missed. Vangelis at number 8. At number 7, we're going to Kansas, kids. That's right, Dorothy. It's Kerry Liugren. I didn't know whether to do Kerry or Steve Walsh here. They both played keyboards. Kerry would play keyboard and guitar. Every time I saw Kansas, I always tended to think Kerry was the better keyboard player. Help me out here if you guys disagree. Steve Walsh was no slouch either, but Kerry to me was just a consummate musician, the consummate songwriter. He deserves to be on this list, and here he is at number 6. You might disagree with this, but Richard Wright from Pink Floyd, the guy never played anything fast or, all fiddly-diddly, but what he did do was put down exactly what every song Pink Floyd ever recorded needed. That's what he did. That was his job. He had certain albums where he played a more pivotal role. I'm thinking about Wish You Were Here, where his keyboards just seemed to dominate a lot of times, but Richard Wright, unbelievable. R.I.P. I can't believe how many of these people are not with us anymore, so I'm starting to get a little bummed out here. But you should check out both of his solo albums too. They're fantastic. At number 5, Gentle Giant's Kerry Minnear makes this list. Hands down, he makes this list. If you've ever listened to a Gentle Giant album and kind of wondered where all that crazy architecture comes from all their, wacky extrapolations and explorations, it's Kerry Minnear. He's incredible. What a great keyboard player. What a great musician. I even loved his voice. I guess Kerry hated his own voice. That's why on the Playing the Fool Live album, he's not singing any lead at all. It's all backup. All his lead parts were taken by Derek, but he just maybe wanted to focus on playing those really tricky and intricate keyboard parts instead of worried about singing, and I don't blame him. Why wouldn't you? At number 4, number 4 probably doesn't belong on this list. He's probably not a prog keyboard player, but much like putting Danny Carey on my best drummers list, it just felt completely wrong to do a top keyboard player list and leave Jon Lord off of it. Jon Lord, man. Wow. If you know Deep Purple or Whitesnake, you know what this guy's all about. Another one who's no longer with us. A massive talent, just a monster, and a really, really good guy. Jon Lord deserves to be on this list. I'm going to give you guys a bunch of people who I didn't put on this list in a little bit, but I could not leave him off. I just couldn't. It just would be wrong. It really would be. I think y'all know what the top 3 is going to look like. No big shocker. At number 3, it's Tony Banks from Genesis. This guy never met a chord he didn't like. His chordal inversions, his mastery of the mellotron, his ability to play these really tough, intricate parts live. his songwriting ability, his 12-string guitar playing. I mean, Tony Banks, please, yeah, he may not be the warmest or friendliest guy in the world, but he might be one of the smartest guys in the world, because Tony Banks is the secret sauce behind Genesis, both their prog years and their pop years. You know, they wouldn't be anywhere without him, and that's a fact, y'all. Peter Gabriel, Phil Collins, sure. It's Tony Banks that made that engine run. We're getting to the top two. This was so difficult for me. Talk about splitting hairs with these two. I almost flipped a coin, but I actually came up with a tiebreaker of my own. At number 2, Keith Emerson, the late, great Keith Emerson, the man that brought prog rock to the masses with his crazy antics, you know, jamming knives between the keys of a Hammond organ, spinning upside down in the air, you know, just all this crazy stuff, bringing the showmanship, bringing the sexiness, bringing the energy to prog. It wasn't just, thinking man's bookish music. No, man, Emerson, Lake and Palmer rocked hard, and Keith Emerson, you know, both with the Nice and with the LP. You know, prog would not be where it is today without Keith Emerson. We love you, Keith. I know you're in a great band up there. Who knows? You're probably playing with Alan White and Chris Squire right now. You know, Greg Lake maybe singing and playing guitar. Wow, what a band that would be. Whoa. Yeah, I just gave myself chills there. So y'all know who number 1 is, and you know, this was a tough one, splitting hairs and everything, but I ultimately went with Rick Wakeman as my number 1 prog keyboard player of all time, for one simple reason, because if I were to, you know, amass what Rick did with Yes and what Keith did with ELP, it's a wash. But if I look at the solo careers, Rick Wakeman has this hands down. Wakeman has put out so many amazingly great albums on his own that, yeah, he gets the top spot over Keith. I've heard some people say that if you could combine Keith Emerson's right hand and Rick Wakeman's left hand, you'd have the perfect keyboard player. Yeah, I don't know about that. You know, I'm a hack on the keyboard, so I only go with what I hear and what sounds good to me. And to these ears, Rick Wakeman and Keith Emerson were light years ahead of everybody else. Their ability to command an audience, their ability to shape a song, their ability to bend a band to their own will. Keith and Rick are the two best, and I got Rick Wakeman at number 1. But there were a few other great keyboard players that I considered, and some others I did not because I didn't feel that they were prog. I'm going to rattle some of these off. Jürgen Fritz from Triumvirate. I feel really bad about him not making the list. Par Lind, the great Scando keyboard player, really helping bringing prog back in the 90s. How about Thies Van Leer from Focus, or Vittorio Nocenzi from Banco? How about Chick Corea, George Duke, Jan Hammer, Joe Zawinul, Dave Brubeck? How about Thomas Bodine from the Flower Kings? I hated leaving him off. Manfred Mann. How about Mike Pinder, Rod Argent, Clive Nolan, Ken Bard from Monarch Trail. I see you, dude. And last but not least, Kevin Moore. So there's a bunch of guys that, you know, could have made the list, should have made the list, whatever. It's my list. So I made the decisions on what the criteria were. Anyway, I am Scott. You are in the Prog Corner. Please hit that subscribe button. Please hit the like button. Share the video if you want to spread the word on prog rock. Let the whole world know that it's not dead. It never died. It didn't die in the 70s. It just kind of hibernated a little bit. But it's back, and I will see you freaks soon. Have a great weekend. Peace.